Studies for the launch of the special issue of the Professional Manager dedicated to the late Dr. Saman Kelegama. Obviously, there need not be much introduction to Dr. Saman Kelegama, since we all know what a visionary leader he was. Before proceeding with today's event, may I invite you all to please stand up for the national anthem. Virakon, Executive Director at IPS.
Thank you, Kitmina. On behalf of the Institute of Policy Studies, I extend a very warm welcome on this occasion to mark the launch of the Professional Manager, a special issue in tribute of Dr. Saman Kelegama, former Executive Director of the IPS and member of the Board of Management of the Postgraduate Institute of Management. I want to express our sincere thanks to Mrs. Kelegama, Chandana, and Jayatri for their presence here, and other members of Dr. Kelegama's family who have joined us this evening. My thanks also to officials from the government who are here. Mr. Ruwan Chandra, Secretary to the Ministry of National Policies and Economic Affairs, and other friends and colleagues of Dr. Kelegama who are here. The Professional Manager magazine, the special issue as a tribute to Dr. Kelegama, is the brainchild of Dr. Vikrama Veerasurya, Chairman of the IPS Endowment Trust and member of the Board of Management of the PIM. Over the last few months, he has worked tirelessly to gather the content, to get all the articles, the photographs, and he has overseen the formatting, printing, to ensure that the publication is ready to be launched today. So we express our sincere thanks to Dr. Veerasurya and to Professor Ajanta Piris, Director of the Postgraduate Institute of Management. He's still on his way. But on behalf of IPS, we do extend our thanks to you. Over the last 9 months, we have been at the receiving end of a flood of tributes for Dr. Kelegama. This magazine captures only a fraction of those that have come because of owing to limitations of space, etc. But the articles that are contained in the magazine capture the essence of who Dr. Kelegama was, what he did, what he achieved in his lifetime, and the void that he has left, both in personal and professional terms. In his professional life, he touched countless lives as a scholar, as a public policy advocate, as a policymaker, as a mentor to up-and-coming young scholars, and of course as a boss to us here at the IPS. His achievements are too well known and recognized, and perhaps also too numerous for me to elaborate on at this point. But it's quite clear from the articles that are contained in the magazine that what shines through are the affection, regard, and respect with which he is remembered by those who knew him. Some of the anecdotes that the writers have mentioned in the articles reflect on their encounters with him and the qualities that they have come to admire in him: his kindness, his humility, and his modesty in the face of all his towering achievements. And these are qualities of Dr. Kelegama that we are very familiar with at the IPS. I speak for all my colleagues when I say that his absence at IPS today, we feel it as acutely as we did 9 months ago. That has not diminished. To many of us, Dr. Kelegama was IPS. It is a place where he nurtured talent, where he gently encouraged intellectual growth and personal development, and instilled in us a sense of community and team spirit, always with the end objective of ensuring that IPS grows stronger and is capable of meeting the policy needs of this country. We take comfort from the fact that his work will not be in vain, and what he has built up will be continued. My colleagues and I are committed to ensuring that the IPS gets stronger and that its role as an independent voice in economic policy in Sri Lanka is heard loud and clear. We will honor what he believed in and what he pursued. Next week we'll be launching a research grant in his name, which will be open to students at Sri Lankan universities. This research grant will be run on an open competitive basis each year. This is to recognize Dr. Kelegama's fervent belief that we need to build national research capacity in Sri Lanka, and his tireless efforts to mentor and guide young scholars. A volume on Sri Lanka's post-conflict economic developments is already underway, with contributions from Sri Lankan economists and Sri Lankan economies based overseas. We believe that that book, dedicated to Dr. Kelegama, is again a mark of his belief that good quality research is the basis on which sound, evidence-based policy making can be made. In June, we will host an international conference bringing together eminent economists from Sri Lanka and overseas, a conference and a memorial in his honor. Again, Dr. Kelegama worked tirelessly to foster a public debate and discussion on issues of national economic importance and regional issues, and we feel that that is also a way in which we can honor his memory. At IPS, we have reassembled ourselves as a team, and we are continuing the work that we plan to carry out this year and into the future. It is what Dr. Kelegama would have wanted and expected of us. But in that, we have also been very fortunate to be at the receiving end of goodwill and good wishes from his family, his colleagues, and his friends. And I want to place on record our appreciation to Mrs. Kelegama, to Chandana and Jayatri, who have extended their fullest support to the IPS in the midst of their own very personal loss. I also want to extend our thanks to IPS's Board of Management, Board of Governors, Dr. Sarath Rajapathirana, Dr. Kishan Disanaike and others who helped us through this difficult period. And finally, and not least, IPS's Endowment Fund trustees, Dr. Vikrama Veerasurya, Dr. Lloyd Fernando, and Mr. Maxi Prelis. They also lent their unstinting support and guidance to us. I thank you once again for your presence here with us this evening, and I thank the PIM and Dr. Veerasurya for producing this beautiful magazine, that we will all cherish as a fitting tribute to Dr. Saman Kelegama. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dushni. As Dr. Dushni mentioned, Dr. Kelegama's vision and impact was not just felt by us academics and others, but also felt by policymakers across the political spectrum. Unfortunately, the Honorable Malik Samara Vikrama, Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, was unable to attend this event today due to an unscheduled meeting at this time. He has shared some remarks to be read out to you all, and I quote, Dr. Saman Kelegama was a once-in-a-generation individual. Everyone who interacted with him in any way would have memorable recollections of him in different contexts. We owe him a debt of gratitude for the immense contribution he made to Sri Lanka's trade policy and trade reforms agenda. In 2015, the government identified the need to reorient the economy towards trade and investment, something that Saman had been advocating for some time. To take on the challenge of trade reforms, we were immediately able to look to Saman to help guide this agenda. His track record of national and international research, his exposure to global trade policy debates, and his deep understanding of the Sri Lankan development context made him the ideal resource person for this work. Personally, I benefited greatly from his insight and wise counsel on trade matters. He chaired the Agency for International Trade and was the country's chief trade negotiator for the free trade agreements under negotiation. During the 2 years prior to his untimely demise, he gave of himself generously. In January, we signed the Singapore-Sri Lanka FTA, which was possible in large part due to Saman's leadership and expertise. In fact, on the occasion of signing the FTA, the Singaporean Prime Minister himself paid a special tribute to Saman, demonstrating the high standing that the international community held him in. He was a professional, no doubt, and a manager in different and unique contexts. He managed complex trade negotiations, managed difficult stakeholder contentions, managed political pressures, and managed his diverse roles in research, policy, and private sector. His legacy lives on through the articles and books he wrote, the people he inspired, the new knowledge he imparted, and the institution he built. All Sri Lankans are deeply indebted to him for his contributions to Sri Lanka's economic policy agenda, to new economic thinking, and fostering the next generation of policy thinkers. The launch of this special edition of Professional Manager is a fitting tribute to a man who has truly committed to the cause of advancing knowledge in Sri Lanka and imparting that knowledge to others. Saman demonstrated admirable consistency of thought amidst shifting ideological and political tides through the years. I hope every reader of this special edition will also benefit from that clarity of thought and grow to become a patriot and a professional like him. Unquote. We thank the Honorable Minister, Mr. Malik Samara Vikrama, Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade, for those remarks. To now give some reflections on Dr. Saman Kelegama, I kindly invite Dr. Vikrama Veerasurya, the Chairman of the IPS Endowment Trust Fund.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have craved the indulgence of all of you and Dushni Kelegama to talk seated, because although I can be outstanding at events, I can't be standing because I have a problem with my knees. So I beg your forgiveness to sit and speak. And I'll be very informal and share some ideas and views as to why we are gathered here today to pay tribute to this great man. But apart from that, I'll tell you how this publication came to be done. As Dushni said, it was my idea. I love this man a lot. And when he passed away, there was another friend of mine who passed away 2 years ago, whom I loved. That was our head of the PIM, Professor Udita Liyanage. Both of them died young. They say God takes the young. He was 61, Saman was 58. Both institutions, great institutions, icons, the institutions themselves, lost two national icons. One was Udita on April 10th, 2017. I was electioneering in Kandy when I heard the news from Mr. Ranapura, Sir, Udita Antaravela. And I couldn't work for that day. I just stepped down and thought about it. So that was the first shock that I had. The second was Saman. I'll talk a little about Saman later, but I must tell you that Saman died in his sleep from a cardiac arrest at a hotel in Bangkok, where he had gone to attend an escape meeting on the 23rd of June, 2017. I didn't know that he had passed away because I was firing off an email to him at 11 a.m. on that day. I still have a copy of that email because I am on the chairman of the endowment trust that he created to safeguard 500 million rupees that IPF had got from donor funding, not from government funding, from donors, and someone wanted it safeguarded, so I don't know, he chose an old man like me, but he chose better trustees in Lloyd and Maxi Prelis, and we hold that money in trust for him. The idea is to invest the money and to give it to IPS. Now Dushni knows all about it because she is the executive director and a member of the trust. So I was firing off an email to him, which I fired off at 11 o'clock on the 23rd. Unknown to me, he had died. I became very, very close to Saman because of the endowment trust. I used to meet him at least once a week in his office upstairs here. And we used to chat about everything, politics, what's happening in the country, what is not happening in the country, individuals who are not performing, and so on. He put away 10 minutes of the time to gossip with me on those matters. The closeness that I had to Saman was the closeness that I had to Udita, and I find it very difficult to speak at public places because tears begin to choke me and I can't speak. I can write. So I have written a very personal account about Saman. There are 22 contributors to this journal. All of them have magnificent contributions, very scholarly, academic contributions, some of them far better than what I can do. I wrote a very personal account of my association with Saman, what Saman Kelegama meant to me, to the IPS and to the country. I'm very happy that Malik, although he couldn't come too much hurly-burly and it will erupt tomorrow, and he has sent this message at least. When I heard that Saman had died on that morning, I was at the Golf Face Hotel. Immediately I phoned up Malik and said, Malik, what are you doing about this? He had died in Bangkok. He said, Vikrama, everything has been taken care of. We have asked the embassy to attend to all the matters, and we have asked the embassy to see that the body is flown back, and we are in touch with Mrs. Kelegama. And I am sure Mrs. Kelegama will certify that that is the correct situation. Malik did the best he could through his ministry. Now, what about this publication? This publication is not an IPS publication. Dushni has said what IPS is going to do for Saman. They have already named this magnificent auditorium in his name, and they are having a research activity, they are publishing a book, and so on. The PIM also had, I would say, a legitimate hold on Saman because he was on our board of studies for many, many years. He was on our board of management, the Postgraduate Institute of Management, and he was by far the most important post was he was the chairman of the audit committee of PIM. So in that way, and he was a magnificent lecturer, faculty lecturer in economics, and everyone wanted to hear Saman, and PIM improved its status by people like Saman agreeing to come and talk. So we decided, without any hesitation, the only deviation that we had gone was for Udita, because all the PIM professional magazines, professional manager, carry MBA, past MBAs of PIM. We devote that to the PIM. But in the case of Udita, who was also a PIM MBA, we decided that we will deviate and go for Saman Kelegama. That was a conscious decision of the faculty, of the Board of Studies, Board of Management, and I'm really, Dushni paid me a compliment for formatting this. The people who did it are staring at my face, wondering whether I'll correct Dushni. Yes, I do. Mr. Kalyana Ratna and so many others who stand here today who did the formatting and the articles. So thank you to all the people at PIM for having done this, and to Ajancha Dhammasiri, the director of PIM, who will be here with us shortly. Now, a little about Saman. This is not a rejoicing, event of rejoicing. I have sat here a number of times with Saman on many subjects where we could share a joke, share a comment, and take a criticism, right or wrong. But today is a day of reflection, it's a day of commemoration for an icon, a man that we have lost. More than I, the institution. At pages 78 and 79 of this issue, you get the photograph of the PIM staff. Not more than 40 like IPS staff. IPS staff, number not more than 40. And same with PIM. It's a small staff, great institution. They are the ones who will grieve. As Dushni said, it's a loss that can never be surmounted. Then we come to the family. Sirimao, Chandana and Ayati. I have met all three of them after the event, and I have been with them. I'm very concerned about Chandana's future, as to how far he will go and what he's going to do. So is the mother, so is Dushni. So we had to look after him. Saman would have done so. And I asked Saman, when are you going to look after your family? From 1995, you have been carrying on this post at PIM, at IPS for over 22 years. When are you going to stop? And who's going to take over? Sustainability is the name of the game. You can build institutions, but who's going to continue them? So he said, Vikrama, I have a plan. I want to be with my family. I have neglected them to a large extent. And as far as IPS is concerned, it's in safe hands. Dushni will look after it. She's already the deputy director. So when Saman passed away on the 23rd of July, 2017, I spoke to Lloyd and I said, Lloyd, what is going to happen to IPS? We are on the endowment trust. We have 500 million rupees of their money. I don't want to be here unless we know that the IPS will have a proper executive director, but the executive director is also a member of the trust. And I won't use the word we lobbied, but we spoke to many people, and all our fears were put at rest when we were told that Dushni will succeed. She was made the acting director and thereafter the executive director. I thank the board, some of whom are here. I think, sir, you are new to the board. You just got in. Mr. Rohan Chandra, but Mr. Disanayaka is here, and Mr. Rajapatrana is here. So we spoke to them. I didn't speak to Mr. Disanayaka. I spoke to Mr. Rajapatrana and said, I don't want to serve on the endowment trust with 500 million rupees in our bag to look after unless there's a proper succession. And thank you, Dushni, for coming on board, because as Saman did, sat with us as the executive director and made us feel comfortable. Now, two great institutions have lost the leader. The institutions are continuing. And the message that I want to give is, what did Saman Kelegama stand for? As I knew him, the main characteristic in the man, I'm not talking about his academic achievements and abilities, professional abilities as an economist and all that, was his integrity. And he was not worried about politicians. That was the greatest asset that I admired in him. I have been a public servant. I have caved into politicians many a time. But Saman Kelegama never would cave into a politician. And that is one of the reasons why he created the endowment trust. He didn't want the donor funding to be touched. Even by the treasury, even by the consolidated fund, and I speak very openly, very clearly, don't hurt institutions. How much is IPS getting from the fund, from the consolidated fund? A paltry 15 million rupees a year. No doubt the land is the government, but that is all that someone got or gets from the government, 15 million rupees. And what a wonderful job they have done. Went with Dushni when she was made the director, and when the State of the Economy publication was put out to the radio, Ceylon, SLBC, and I got her to give an account, give it more awakening in the country. What is IPS? The embassies, the World Bank, the IMF, the Asian Development Bank know about the IPS. The embassies ask for more copies, and she has to print more copies because that report is looked for. Central Bank makes a big issue about its report. Governor to come, President to come, Prime Minister to come, and all that. But there's no mention of the IPS annual State of the Economy report, the launch, except to give it to the press and maybe to give it to those who ask for it. So that's a matter that I have been talking to Dushni about. More people, more awakening, more understanding of what IPS does, the think tank of the government. That is how Lloyd told me that Ronnie de Mel conceived of the IPS, and how the Netherlands first funded IPS to be the think tank of the state, of the government, divorced from the political infiltrations of the central bank and the treasury, divorced from those, where an independent number of people, excellent researchers, can do the work and present the state of the economy every year. And what Saman never put his name on that, never, except the last issue, which is dedicated to him after his death. From 1995, State of the Economy never had Saman Kelegama's name. No picture, nothing. It said, gave the name of, later on, the Deputy Director, Dushni Veerakon, as having led the team, together with the people who are now, I think, in this auditorium, looking at us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to speak at length, except there's one thing that I enjoyed with Saman, and I told Dushni this. I enjoyed a good single malt. And even on an occasion like this, Saman always felt that that was a requirement of people like us. And we retired to a corner of this building and have one of the best single malts for the evening and discuss more politics. And with him, the fantastic thing, every day I used to meet him and I used to say, Saman. And he used to say, Dr. Veerasurya. So I said, what is the meaning of this man? Why do you call me Dr. Veerasurya? He smiled for a little, we went on talking, and again Dr. Veerasurya. That was the human being that he was. I think Dushni also has learned part of that. Because I call her Dushni, and I told her several times, call me Vikrama, but goes on calling me Dr. Veerasurya. And 80 years, maybe the oldest person in this audience. But still, I maintain the characteristics of a man, integrity, honesty, and humanity. Those three qualities Saman had. Mine is the only non-academic of the 20 contributions that are in this journal about this great man. Because I am not an economist. I was an academic, and I don't know enough to write in the way that others have written. But I wrote my mind about this man whom I met from 1995 and became very close to. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming, and I thank the press. The media is one of the most important institutions that we have in this country. Whatever happens, the media, my view is that the media should not be touched. And we should be touched. We should be controlled, but not the media. And the media has always helped someone. I don't want to elaborate and go into details, but IPS has always got a good press. And thanks to the media, and I thank some of the media people who are here. I thank a lot of the foreign embassy people, some of them are here. I thank the members of the trust board who are here, the endowment trust whom I mentioned, and PIM officials who are also here. And of course, the IPS staff. I didn't know the IPS staff in the way that I should have got to know them. Even now, I don't get involved with the staff because we do the endowment trust work up in the third floor and that's it, second floor and that's it. But I wish IPS all the success, and we were hoping to blend with PIM. We were telling someone, you are the greatest research institution that we can think of. We are the greatest teaching institution, postgraduate level, that we can think of. So let's blend together. Lloyd was trying to master a little get together, but it was too late because someone passed away, but we will try with Dushni, so that a magnificent auditorium like this can hold joint seminars, joint ventures between two great institutions, the IPS and PIM, which has got together on this occasion to put out one of the best journals, The Professional Manager. So thank you once again, and I am very, very grateful to Mrs. Kelegama, given all the understanding to IPS, donated part of the Saman's magnificent library to IPS, one of the best libraries that I have seen, stretched over 2 or 3 boardrooms, and I heard from Dushni that she has very kindly consented to part of the books being given. So thank you, Mrs. Kelegama, for what you have done. Thank you, Chandani and Nayati, all 3 of you. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all that I have to say today. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Veer. May I now please invite Mrs. Irantika Sirimao Kelegama to accept the commemorative issue of The Professional Manager dedicated to the late Dr. Saman Kelegama from Dr. Vikram Veerasurya. Thank you very much. May I now invite Chandana Kelegama to speak a few words on behalf of the family of Dr. Saman Kelegama.
Thanks, Kitmina. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, on behalf of the family, I would like to thank the Postgraduate Institute of Management for publishing this commemorative journal in honor of my father, the late Dr. Saman Kelegama. I remember just about 2 weeks after his passing, Dr. Veerasurya wrote to us and outlined his idea of coming up with a special commemorative issue of The Professional Manager in honor of my father. I would like to thank Dr. Veerasurya for taking the initiative for this book and also overseeing the entire process. He reached out to many of my father's former colleagues and friends. So I must thank him for his efforts to get together such a great list of people as authors for this book. Dr. Veerasurya has been a source of strength to us during a very difficult time, extending his advice, guidance, and support whenever possible. Thank you to everyone at the PIM who helped publish this special issue, from Chairman Professor Dharmasiri and the Board of Management, as well as all the staff. I know Mr. Kalyanratna was also heavily involved in putting this journal together. So thank you so much, everyone. The PIM board last year decided to award a Dr. Saman Kelegama Memorial Award for the best performing student in the executive MBA. This was presented last December at their convocation, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank the PIM for this wonderful gesture to honor him. Next, I would like to thank all the contributors and authors. Thank you for taking the time to pen your personal memories and your professional memories with my father. This book will not only act as a tribute to him, but will provide many generations to come an insight into who he was and what he did. Most importantly for us, we will treasure this collection, as reading what others have to say about him can often be comforting at a time like this, and will almost always bring a smile to our face, however many times we read it in the future. I think this event becomes even more special because it is held here at IPS, at this very auditorium. That the IPS staff decided to name in his honor last September. IPS 2 played an important role in helping this journal take form. The IPS has without doubt been the greatest strength to the family over the last 9 months, so I would like to thank Dr. Vera Cohen and the entire IPS team for standing with us during these difficult times. To close friends and family who are here today, thanks for being there for us at a time of grief. I think your presence here is a reflection of how important you have been to us. Just to say a few words about my father. His absence is something that is difficult to come to terms with even today. At some point every day it hits me that he's no longer there, and I wonder if it is just a bad dream, but reality strikes. Somehow I've been able to pull through. I feel like Apache is pushing me from behind, like he always has, helping me overcome this adversity and move forward, even though he is not physically with us. As I say in my article as well, there's probably no greater adversity for a child than losing a parent, and I know for a fact that he would really hate to see what we are going through right now. As we grew older, he became more than a father. He became a friend, a role model, and a mentor to me and my sister, and above all, my biggest strength. When I needed someone to speak to, a strong shoulder to lean on, he was always there. Dr. Virsurya mentioned that he barely had time for the family because he was always at IPS. This was like his second home. But he, despite his busy schedule and multiple work commitments, he always managed to find time for us. He made us see the world, and the memories that we have as a result are among some of the most valuable things I have today. After all, it is the good times that you share with your loved ones which really matter, and Apache made sure that he provided that in abundance. Finally, I would like to thank all of you for being here today, and I would like to thank the PIM and IPS for jointly hosting this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chandana. Unfortunately, Professor Ajanta Dharmasiri is not here as of now. On behalf of IPS, we would like to thank the Postgraduate Institute of Management, PIM, for all their hard work in publishing this magazine, and for all of you for coming here today. And with the commitment to continue Dr. Saman Kelegama's legacy and what he aimed to achieve for the country as well as amongst us all in terms of what we were to achieve individually, I thank you all for coming here today and invite you all for some refreshments outside the auditorium. Thank you very much. Have a good evening and safe journeys back home.